Hey guys, it's Darwin, and today I want to talk about something that for some reason a bunch of you are interested in, and that's what I carry for my first aid and hygiene on the trail. All right, folks, so this is not going to be the most exciting video that I do this year. I'm not going to talk about new, fancy, expensive gear, and I'm not going to give tips and tricks, but I am going to talk about something that for some reason I get tons of questions about all the time, and that's what I carry for my first aid and my self-care, my hygiene, when I'm out doing a long distance hike. In fact, I think the last time that I made one of these videos was almost 5 years ago, and it's pretty embarrassing. This is it. This is all that I carried for my first aid. Picked up this little bitty pouch, I think at an REI, and just kind of filled it with the things that I needed. So if we break it down and open her up, I'll kind of show you what's in here. So typically when I do one of my gear list videos, I usually pull out my ditty bag, and something that I just kind of scan over and talk about for a second is my first aid and hygiene. I usually have this bag, but I don't really go over what's inside of it. So today I figured that we could open this up and I can show you what I typically use over the 7,000 miles that I've hiked in the past 5 years. Now, this setup is not going to work for everybody, and you might think that I need more, you might need more. Everybody is going to be different on what they need to carry for their hygiene and their first aid on the trail. This is just what has worked for me for about 5 years, and nothing has really changed. If you go watch that old crappy video, it pretty much stays the same. If anything, I've added a couple little things just for better self-care for myself on the trail. All right, so first up, let's talk about this little bag. Now, I don't really call it first aid. I call it more of my repair kit because not only am I repairing myself when I'm out on the trail, but I also keep stuff in here to be able to repair gear in case something breaks or goes wrong. So the first thing that I have in this bag is going to be my toothbrush. Now, I used to use a little plastic toothbrush, but I started picking up these little bamboo ones, and this is actually a child's bamboo toothbrush. It's pretty lightweight. You can see that I don't cut off the handle because I think that's sort of silly. I'd rather have a long handle and a little bitty brush on the end. But toothbrush. The next thing is obviously going to be what I need to brush my teeth, and that is toothpaste. So I like the Dr. Bronner's peppermint toothpaste because it is all natural, it is biodegradable, so if I do spit it out onto the ground, I don't have to worry about getting any chemicals like fluoride or something like that into the ground. So Dr. Bronner's toothpaste. The next thing that I have in there is a pen. So just in case I need to write something, I carry a pen. A little cheap pen, kind of crappy. I rarely use it. The next thing that I have in there is my medicine cabinet, which is vitamin I, or ibuprofen. You can see there's quite a bit in here. That's because I planned on doing a lot of hiking this year and I wanted to make sure I was stocked up. But that's typically all I carry, just vitamin I. Don't really carry any other type of pain management. I think if something hurts too bad, you probably need to get off the trail. The next thing that I'm gonna have in there is my little bitty stick of sunscreen. So this is something I picked up from Gossamer Gear. This is actually Joshua Tree sunscreen, something I've been using for years, but it's in this really cool little chapstick tube. It's a SPF 33 plus, and this is what I'm gonna typically carry. I just put it on my nose, and I do put it on my tattoos to make sure that they're not gonna get sun bleached out. If for some reason I'm hiking in more of a desert environment like the Arizona Trail, I will swap this out for a bigger stick like this. This is the SPF 50. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to roll on tattoos, especially if I'm going to be needing a lot of it in super exposed areas like the desert. Next up in here is going to be my Joshua Tree lip balm. So just some chapstick. Again, it is SPF 15, because I want to make sure that my lips are not going to get torched, whether I'm out in an exposed area in the desert or up on a ridgeline. So that's something that I've been using for quite some time. The next thing that I have in there is something that I started carrying this year, and that is a little bottle of soap. So this is Dr. Bronner's all-in-one soap, the peppermint kind. Instead of carrying the big bottle, I actually took a little Visine bottle, popped the top off of it, and filled it up with soap. The stuff is super concentrated, and it really only takes 1 drop to be able to wash my hands. And I'm glad that I had this year out on the AT because of the whole virus thing that broke out. This was really nice to have. Now, if I do go back out this year, I will probably carry something a little bit bigger than this. Probably not this big, but kind of the size down from this, just so I can make sure that I can properly wash my hands. And again, this soap is biodegradable, so if I'm washing my hands near a stream, if it gets onto the ground, I don't have to worry about it contaminating, and I can still leave no trace. The next thing that I'm gonna have in here are a set of earplugs. In case I'm camping around somebody that's super loud, somebody that snores, or on those rare occasions that I have to camp near a road, I still wanna make sure that I get good sleep, so I just keep a little pair of cheap earplugs in there just in case. The next thing that I'm gonna carry is something that people ask me about all the time. People say, don't you carry a knife? I do carry a knife. I carry this little bitty Swiss Army Classic Mini. I think that's what it's called. Basically, it has a knife in it. It has nail file and a little screwdriver. And I think the most important part and why I picked it up is it has a pair of scissors. I probably use these scissors more than anything. I don't carry a set of nail clippers anymore because I have these, so I can use these to trim my toenails instead of having nail clippers. And then obviously I can use these for other things like cutting string, like cutting pieces of Leuko tape, which I'll show you here in a second. And then the other thing that it has built into it is obviously a set of tweezers and a toothpick. So if I get a splinter or something, basically anything that I need to do, it's kind of an all-in-one tool, super lightweight, super small. This is perfect for me. And then the last thing that I'm gonna keep in here is what I consider my repair kit. So what is in here is a tube of Leuko tape. So I do have this little plastic tube. I keep some Leuko tape wrapped around it. And the Leuko tape is what I use to put on top of blisters in case I get a cut. I'll take a little bit of TP or something, put it on the back and use it as a Band-Aid. And then on the inside of that, I have an eraser with 2 sewing needles. So I use one of those sewing needles to be able to sew something up if I need it. And the other sewing needle I actually use to thread and pop blisters. Now, before anybody says, you shouldn't pop blisters, don't thread blisters. Again, I've hiked over 7,000 miles in the last 5 years. That's what I've always done to treat blisters, and it's worked out for me. So I'm gonna keep doing that. So I do keep those in there. The other thing that I'm gonna keep in there is a little thing of thread, just regular black, cheap thread. Again, in case I need to repair something on my shirt or thread through a blister. I have an extra gasket for my BRS stove, which they included, so I put it in there just in case my little ring breaks on my stove. I have a backup. I have 2 patches for my sleeping pad because I do use an inflatable pad. There's obviously always the worry that I might puncture a hole, so I have 2 patches. And then the last thing that I have in here is a small roll of DCF tape so I can patch a hole in my tent or any of my DCF bags just in case I do puncture through one of those things. So that's it. That is basically everything that I keep inside of my repair kit. Oh, I almost forgot. The last thing that I'm gonna keep for repairing items on the trail gear is some duct tape that I keep wrapped around my trekking pole. Now this is just in case I have a hole in something where the DCF tape is not gonna work or where the thread needle is not gonna repair that hole. I keep that always wrapped around my trekking pole. Now these little bags, people ask me questions all the time about where I get these little bags from. I didn't buy these, I actually save these. So when I buy certain electronics or camera equipment, because I do play with a lot of cameras and stuff, camera gear, cords and stuff like that come in these, so I always just save these. I'm sure you could find these online somewhere, but there's no particular place where I bought these. These just came in the packaging of things that I was buying anyways. And then the last piece of first aid that I'm gonna keep inside of my ditty bag is my massage ball. I consider this first aid because it is self-care. It's something that I like to do at the end of the day. I like to roll out the bottom of my feet and my muscles So it's just a little cork massage ball by a company called Urology. I love this little thing. I've used other ones in the past. This is kind of the smallest and lightest one that I've been able to find. So I keep that in there. And then the last hygiene, or I guess you could say toiletries that I keep in there are gonna be number one, my trowel, because I like to dig a proper cat hole. Please practice good leave no trace, people. Get yourself a trowel. They don't weigh anything. I keep that in there. And then obviously a small bag of toilet paper, or what has become affectionately known as shit tickets. This is something that I'm actually going to be moving away from over this next hiking season. I want to start practicing better leave no trace and make sure that there's no way for me to leave any type of trace in the backcountry. So I'm actually making the switch off of toilet paper, and I'm going to start carrying a travel bidet. This is something that a buddy of mine, Plug It In, turned me on to, and I've been using it here and there, and really over the next handful of months, I'll be making the full switch to a bidet. I'm going to stop bringing toilet paper and start using this along with a small light load towel. So having these and then being able to use rocks and sticks and leaves to get the other stuff out of there and just make sure that I'm staying properly cleaned on the trail and I'm not leaving a trace. So that is something that I will be doing. So aside from that, that's it. That's everything that is in my first aid and hygiene kit. Now from time to time, I will switch things out and put other things in there. If I know that I'm going to be hiking a really buggy trail and I'm in mosquito season, I will carry some sort of an insect repellent. What I personally like to use over the past year have been these Picardin wipes. I used to use DEET. I've gotten away from using DEET because it's not the best for your skin. So I started using Picardin. These are Gnat Repel wipes, and they're perfect. One of these little wipes, you can see there's like 2 of them here. One of these little wipes will basically cover my arms, my neck, my face, and my legs. These things are pretty awesome. I just kind of pick them up when I can find them, but I don't always carry these. These are something that I will put in my kit though, again, if I know that it's going to be super mosquito-y. And the last thing that I will carry, I don't always carry, is a thing of CBD Balm. So it's like a muscle rub. It's 500 milligrams of CBD. It's worked great for me. I carried this for most of the PCT, and it was great with some of the injuries that I did have when I was out there. Again, folks, that's everything that I have needed in over 7,000 miles, over 5 years of hiking a bunch of different environments, from the desert to the East Coast to high mountain ranges like the Sierra and the Cascades. That's it. That's everything that I've needed. I personally think if I need anything else than that, if it's that bad, I probably need to get off the trail and get that treated and taken care of, which again is why I only carry ibuprofen and really nothing else. So whenever you put together your first aid kit and your hygiene kit, definitely think about what you need in specific. Just because this is what I carry does not mean it's necessarily going to work out for you and that this isn't what you're going to get by with. You definitely need to figure out what you need to take care of yourself when you're out on the trail. So what is one thing that you always make sure that you have in your first aid or hygiene kit that you would not go hiking without? Leave me something down below and let me know your thoughts. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always guys, thanks for watching.